Vygotsky's zone of proximal development seems a bit like a kind of a duh type of theory. Obviously, you don't want to give students things they're not capable of doing. However, there is a lot of different research that has been done on the ways that children are learning. So, the difference of what a child can do independently and what he can do with targeted assistance, or the big term in Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, is scaffolding, which he actually didn't introduce. It was not Vygotsky, instead it was Wood, Berner, and Ross in 1976 who defined it as a process that establishes a child or novice to solve or take achieving a goal that would go beyond his unassisted efforts. So basically, allowing a student or person, any type of novice, us included, to go from not knowing anything to knowing something. Vygotsky believed that when a student is in the zone of proximal development, if you're providing the appropriate assistance, then you're giving that student the boost they need. So understanding how to locate and use each student's ZPD, or zone of proximal development, can help teachers plan more targeted instructions for the whole class, small groups, and individuals. Using small formative assessments that we've talked a lot about helps teachers identify the skills and knowledge that are obtainable for students. So understanding where our students are and knowing what they're capable of, that's part of our responsibility. They're not always going to tell us those things. So we need to be giving them those short formative assessments. The way that this is kind of progressing in the classroom today is super interesting. Parents are always asking us to find this Goldilocks type place. So finding something that's not too hot, not too cold, and just right for their student and for their kid. It's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot to deal with every student. It's one thing to have one parent come to you and say, oh yeah, I wish you could give them more scaffolding in this area. But now it's to the point where every parent is coming to you and asking for that. And not only parents, but yourself. You should be asking for those things for your students as well. So figuring out those supports is not easy, and it takes so much time, which I think we're all starting to learn is something that teachers don't have endless amounts of. The thing that is making this easier and better for everyone is technology. So there are programs out there that can help fill in the gaps that teachers are missing on a daily basis through scaffolding. And it's helping teachers close those gaps. It's also giving personalized learning to each individual student, and it's allowing for quicker and more frequent feedback, which again, we as novice teachers, that's all we want. We want that quick, immediate feedback so that we know how we're doing. So we can relate so much to the way our students are thinking because we're still students ourselves. I think if we can take technology and use it to our advantage, it's really going to help us close those gaps in student zones of proximal development. And I think it's always something that we just need to be aware of. We never want to give our students things that they're not going to do their best at and that they're not going to be very good at, because we would not want those things for ourselves. So